You're a podcast listener, and this is a podcast ad. Reach great listeners like yourself with podcast advertising from Lips and Ads. Choose from hundreds of top podcasts offering host endorsements, or run a reproduced ad like this one across thousands of shows to reach your target audience with Lips and Ads. Go to lipsandads.com now. That's LIBSYN ads.com.
Today on an all-new Dr. Phil.
He's hit me, given me concussions.
So you did punch her?
Did she punch me? Where's that question to her?
You don't put your hands on a woman in anger. Tell me what's funny about that.
I am petrified that you're going to kill my daughter.
Last night, you decided to trash a hotel room. If you want to walk out, then you can walk straight into the LAPD, my friend. Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
This is a safe place to talk about hard things.
Stand by. We'll count you down.
I'll try to be an emotional compass and point you in the right direction.
5, 4.
I am not giving up on you. Kirsten says she has never loved anyone as much as her boyfriend, Mike. She says he is a good person, an amazing father to her 2 sons, knows when he does something wrong, and he usually apologizes. But what exactly is he apologizing for? Well, Kirsten says Mike has slammed her face into the car radio, repeatedly punched her in the head, given her a concussion, several black eyes, busted lips, and a bloody ear. Now, even though Mike has been arrested for domestic battery, not once but twice, Kirsten refused to press charges against him. She says she would be devastated if she lost Mike, and believes if they could just get past the immature, jealous nonsense, they could have a beautiful life together. Take a look.
My boyfriend, Mike, is the love of my life. There's just one problem. We get into physically violent fights. He's hit me, pushed me, left bruises. He's given me concussions. When I was 6 months pregnant, he shoved me and ended up twisting my arm behind my back. I literally felt like he was going to break it. He hit me. Like, that's a problem. Last Valentine's Day, I was holding my son, and he just started punching me in the head. I dropped to the floor, cradling my 3-month-old. Had a gnarly knot on the side of my face, black eye. My earlobe was bleeding and welt on the back of my head. I did call the cops only because my friend's mother forced me to. We were going out to a friend's house. He slammed on his brakes and he slammed my face into his dashboard so hard it actually broke the volume knob. If we can just stop the violence, that's it. The worst fight happened about 2 months ago. I can't tell you how many times he hit me. I ended up in the hospital. I had a concussion that lasted for over 3 weeks. The last incident was just a few weeks ago. He just decked me in the face. My face ended up hitting the concrete. I've been to the hospital 4 times because of Mike. I stay with Mike because I love him. I'm not just going to leave him. I want to make it work.
Okay. You realize that you're in danger, though, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And you realize that you have 2 children.
I do.
And that you're their mother. Mm-hmm. And you have an obligation to protect their mother, right?
Yes.
So what do you say to yourself about that?
Well, I know the obvious answer is to just get out. I know that it's just hard. I don't know. I love him, and I want to be there to help him get past this.
Well, get past what? Because he tells a very different story here. He doesn't think there's anything he needs to get past. These are the allegations that you say of what's happened. March of 15, you say that he pushed you up the stairs into the garage door when you were 1 month pregnant.
Well, it was actually two different events. In the house, he had pushed me up the stairs to make it to where I didn't leave the house. But once we made it out of the house, he then pushed me into the garage door.
He twisted your arm behind your back when you were 6 months pregnant. And you said you can't remember ever experiencing so much pain.
I don't remember what he was going for, but I was trying to stop him from something, and he ended up grabbing my arm, twisting it behind my back, and just lifting up, and just, yeah.
Do you think he was going to break your arm?
Absolutely. That was exactly what went through my head.
Well, he says he's actually afraid of you, that you're in the military, that you have training, and that he's just a desk jockey. He just has a desk job all day, and that he's actually afraid you're going to kick his ass.
I mean, I have fought him before.
But lately this hasn't happened.
Thanksgiving was the last.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about that. February 2016, he punched you in the head 4 times and repeatedly to the face while you were holding your 3-month-old son. You're talking about a closed fist.
Oh, yeah.
So he's punching you in the face and in the head while you were holding your son.
Wow.
April 2016, he slammed your face into the radio and then punched you a few times in the head. October 2016, he uppercut you 4 times. So you're talking about this way. So did he have a hold of you?
Yeah, I believe he did. He had hit me pretty hard to where, like, I don't remember much, but I know, yeah, I'm pretty sure he did, but I don't remember.
So he's uppercutting you 4 times. And then he hit you in the temple. And the police were called here, right?
Yes.
And his story is you might have had a little scratch here or there, but by the time they got there, it was a lot worse. So his theory is that you self-inflicted some wounds.
This is the first I've heard of this. Absolutely not.
Then it was October 31st that he twists your arm behind your back yet again. He did this in June. Now he's doing it again on Halloween. Then November, getting close now, he's punched you in the face again. This is your eye. But despite all of this, you said something very interesting on tape.
We do a lot of fighting. We're both really reactive people. The smallest things set us off.
Everybody's going to fight. That's just a normal thing. I'm not going to leave him. Obviously, like, he's put me in the hospital how many times, and I'm not going anywhere.
Explain.
I mean, I'll leave if you tell me, like, there's nothing here that we can do, but if there's a chance that he can work through this, and I want to be there through it.
Okay, well, I don't know. I haven't met him yet, but I just want to know if pushing you down the stairs at a month pregnant, twisting your arm behind you at 6 months pregnant, punching you in the head 4 times while you're holding your 3-month-old, slamming your face into the radio, uppercutting you 4 times and hitting you in the temple, twisting your arm behind your back, punching you in the face where you got black eyes, torn lip, bloody ears. If this isn't enough for you to say, I need to step out of this, what is? Tell me what the threshold is.
I don't know where I would draw the line at. I don't know.
This doesn't cross the line for you.
It should, but it doesn't. It doesn't.
This doesn't cross the line.
I mean, I don't know how many times I need to get hit for me to finally leave. I feel like I have 1 foot out of the door. I mean, I've left him before, and my life was a mess. Like, I couldn't even go to the store without him texting me, like, why are you bringing my son outside right now? And if I end up leaving him, I have to leave the county. Like, I don't want to deal with that. I don't know. I really don't have any.
Well, let's meet him. When we come back, we're going to meet Kirsten's boyfriend. This isn't even a husband. We're not talking about paperwork here. This is just a boyfriend. We'll be right back.
Kirsten has a bigger problem with anger than I do. When Kirsten left my house, she had maybe a couple scratches. After the pictures came out, it just looked like more damaged. I do believe that she did some self-infliction to get me in trouble.
And later, so you did punch her.
Did she punch me? Where's that question to her?
You don't ever, never, ever put your hands on a woman in anger, ever. Tell me what's funny about that.
Mike has a very short switch. This is what Mike did to my phone. He hits me in my head, and if he keeps going, eventually he's really going to get me right in the sweet spot, and I'm not going to, wake up from that.
Well, Kirsten says her boyfriend Mike has repeatedly abused her and even beat her so badly that she blacked out and woke up in the hospital the next day. Now, although Mike admits he has hit Kirsten, he says she is the one with the anger issues and has come at him in such an aggressive manner with her military moves that he is often afraid and in defense mode.
I believe that I do have an anger issue, but I also believe that Kirsten has a bigger problem with anger than I do.
Mike, I haven't broken anything. I haven't hit you. Not this year.
Kirsten has been aggressive towards me. There's been hitting, kicking, punching. She can go from 0 to 100.
People yell, people scream, but people get over it. I'm a yeller.
There are definitely times I've been afraid of her. Kirsten is in the military. I'm very afraid of what she could do to me, being that she's trained on how to fight. I sit at a desk job all day. I don't have military training. The first battery charge I was charged with, I don't believe she was a victim at all. I was a victim. She punched me multiple times. She kicked me. I had my nose bleeding. I do feel like I hit her to calm her down. When Kirsten left my house, she had a kind of little bruise here. Maybe a couple scratches. After the pictures came out of the incident, it just looked like more damage than what we saw. I do believe that she did some self-infliction to get me in trouble. The police charged me with domestic battery. I do not feel like that was justified. I'm the peacekeeper in the house. I believe 100% that Kirsten is more controlling than I am.
Okay, Mike, you've been backstage listening, right?
Yes.
These are the things that she says. Are these things true and accurate, or are they false?
They're true. I get...
You don't dispute your behavior, you just dispute the context.
Yeah, I don't dispute what I've done. I've done some things, the anger got the best of me.
How does that give you the right to hit her, punch her, twist her arm behind her back, impose your will upon her?
It doesn't give me any rights. I don't know what comes over me.
What do you say to yourself?
I don't know what I say to myself. I don't know what turns from basically the 0 to the 10. I don't know what it is. The anger gets the best of me, and I know it shouldn't.
Are you beating her into submission? Is that what it is?
I don't know. I think when I did it one time, not saying this is right at all, but I noticed I got a reaction of there was no more talking back, there was no more yelling, there was no more doing things to me, to where then when I did that, then things got quiet and I could actually talk. Not saying that's, again, not saying it's right at all.
So you did beat her into submission. We're just calling a spade here. You did beat her into submission, and she shut up. She stopped that back talk. Well, Mike says his domestic battery charge in February 2016 was not his fault. Why is that?
As we're walking into the house, I'm leading the way in the house. She's behind me. And I'd do this kind of to be like, because she's walking towards me this way.
You shoved me.
Then she basically just straight up went and attacked. And she was punching me everywhere. I should have brought my pictures in. I didn't know we were doing that.
Pictures.
I had cuts all inside my lips. My nose was all bleeding. I had scratches on my neck, on my chest. I didn't touch her, do anything like that at all until finally, after being hit multiple times and me holding her down at times, not even punching, nothing, no aggressive there, other than the holding down, trying to ask her a million times to stop. She wouldn't stop.
You punched me in the head while I was holding our son.
He was in the car seat on the floor.
He wasn't in the car seat.
Okay.
Go read the police report. Everything.
Well, let's read the police report. Kirsten stated arrived at Michael's house. Michael and her started to argue with one another. Michael shoved her as she walked by, punched her in the side of the face with a closed fist. She started to hit him back in order to defend herself. Michael threw her down and punched her a couple of times in the face. Kirsten had a swollen lump around her right eye, blood coming from her right ear, and bruising around the left side of her neck. This is the police observations that they're writing in the report. Her head was swollen underneath her hairline. Kirsten also had bruising on her left arm. The police officer informed Michael he was under arrest for domestic battery.
This is ridiculous.
So you did punch her?
Yes. Did she punch me? Where's that question to her?
No, I absolutely did.
Well, that's just stupid.
Well, it is, but that's where I was.
If you want to walk out of here, then you can walk straight into the LAPD. As our guest, you decided to trash a hotel room. You are here by my grace, my friend. And later...
I'm not going anywhere. You're not going to kill my daughter. You think it's funny? No, Mom.
But first, this episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. We've all heard the saying, comparison is the thief of joy, right? But with social media, it can be hard not to compare when everyone's posting the highlights of their lives. Whether it's on social media or in real life, if you've ever found yourself wishing your life looked like someone else's, therapy can help you focus on what you want instead of what others have, so you can actually start living your best life. In fact, whatever mindset shift I need in any given moment, therapy has given me the strategies to first recognize what's actually going on and then respond to it in the best way for that moment. If you're thinking of starting therapy, BetterHelp is a great place to start. It's online, so it's convenient and flexible, and it makes it really simple to switch therapists if you need, so you can find the best match for you, no awkward conversations required, and no additional charge. So stop comparing and start focusing with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/newsworthy today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/newsworthy.
You're a podcast listener, and this is a podcast ad. Reach great listeners like yourself with podcast advertising from Lips and Ads. Choose from hundreds of top podcasts offering host endorsements, or run a reproduced ad like this one across thousands of shows to reach your target audience with Lips and Ads. Go to lipsandads.com now. That's LIBSYN ads.com.
These are Michael's allegations. He says that she attacked with football moves and tackles and punched, kicked in the face, had a chair that was swung at him from across the room. His mouth was cut up, bloody nose and scratches on his face, neck, and chest. So you say she has come at you, she has attacked you, and that oftentimes you have done what you have done purely in defense.
Yes, that incident, definitely.
I don't care what she does. If she starts punching you, then you turn around and walk away. If she starts following you, then you walk faster. If she starts chasing you, then you outrun her. If you have to, you get behind the door. But you don't ever, never, ever put your hands on a woman in anger, ever. And somehow or another, you think that's funny somehow? Tell me what's funny about that. You just don't put your hands on a woman in anger. And anybody that does is a chicken coward. No, you're not done. No, let me tell you.
I'm done.
Okay, let me tell you something. If you want to be done, if you want to walk out of here, then you can walk straight into the LAPD, my friend. And let me tell you something. Because last night in our hotel, as our guest, you decided to trash a hotel room. And in that hotel room, you created vandalism of personal property. And let me tell you what that amounts to, okay? So you want to get all self-righteous with me, buddy boy. You smashed the thermostat, you smashed the glasses, you tore up the lamp, and every person who maliciously commits any of the following acts with respect to any real or personal property not his or her own, in cases other than those specified by state law, is guilty of vandalism, and that person faces up to a year in prison and a $10,000 fine. So you are here by my grace, my friend. So you can talk to me or you can talk to the LAPD backstage, your choice. If you think a man putting his hands on a woman in anger is cowardly, stand up. Okay. What I want you to do, look at me. You cannot change what you don't acknowledge. And let me tell you why people do what you do. People resort to physical violence when they run out of socially acceptable ways to express themselves. And so out of frustration, you lash out. If you will calm down and stop doing that, then you can say, you know what? I'm going to stop going over the top, and we're going to start dealing with the relationship issues here. Is she a provoker? She may be. She may be poking you with a stick to get you to do everything you do. I don't know. But because you do the things you do, it overshadows everything she does, and she gets a free pass. You're your own worst enemy here. I have a question for him, and if he will answer this honestly, we may actually take a step forward. I have a pivotal question for this young man when we come back.
You're a podcast listener, and this is a podcast ad. Reach great listeners like yourself with podcast advertising from Lips and Ads. Choose from hundreds of top podcasts offering host endorsements, or run a reproduced ad like this one across thousands of shows to reach your target audience with Lips and Ads. Go to lipsandads.com now. That's LIBSYN ads.com. You're a podcast listener, and this is a podcast ad. Reach great listeners like yourself with podcast advertising from Lips and Ads. Choose from hundreds of top podcasts offering host endorsements, or run a reproduced ad like this one across thousands of shows to reach your target audience with Lips and Ads. Go to lipsandads.com now. That's LIBSYN ads.com.
I'm back with Kirsten and Mike, and we're talking about what is a very volatile, what is a very physically dangerous relationship. You know, you two could be in a fight. You could punch her. She could fall backwards and hit her head on the corner of a table. And you could spend the rest of your life in the penitentiary for involuntary manslaughter. And let me tell you, every time there's a dispute between a man and a woman and the police come, they're going to haul you to jail, not her. I don't care if she's got a black belt in Taekwondo and you are Barney Fife. They're going to put you in jail. That's just the truth of the matter. You know that, right? You've seen it happen. Mm-hmm. Now, let me ask you something. If you were at the mall and you saw some guy and he had her pinned up against the wall with her arm bent behind her back, punching her in the side of the head, what would you do?
Fight them.
You wouldn't allow it?
Correct.
Then why would you allow it from yourself?
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't let anybody else on the face of the earth do it. Why would you do it? Why would you allow yourself to do it?
Yeah, I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why I do it.
What would happen when your child gets old enough and says, Daddy, why do you beat Mommy up? How are you going to answer that question?
Because your dad's not right in the head.
You want to avoid that conversation?
Yes.
Do you get scared in relationships? Do you get afraid that people are going to leave you, that she's going to get somebody else?
Yes.
What is it you believe about yourself that makes you think people want to leave you? What makes you feel threatened that somebody wants to leave you?
I just know there's always somebody better out there. There's always going to be better options out there. So when, if there's cases where guys have always been on the phones and whatnot, then I believe that eventually feelings will be caught, because if you talk to somebody for an extensive amount of time, I believe that feelings will eventually grow. And then they'll see more negative than me, more positive than the other person, so then I'll easily just be switched out.
Mm-hmm. So you think if you control her enough, you keep her contained enough, she won't be tempted. We got a saying in Texas, you can build fences that are horse high and pig tight, but they can still get out of them. Mm-hmm. You can't contain them.
Yeah.
You cannot build a fence high enough or tight enough that she can't get out. You can't do that. But what you can do is make them want to stay.
Mm-hmm.
It's the good that makes me stay. He's a great dad, and he's a great teammate, and we do really well together.
So it's been going pretty well since, last night.
Right, well.
All right, next, we're going to find out what the ultimatum was that Kirsten's mother gave Mike. Plus, Kirsten's stepfather, Paul, is concerned about her safety. We're going to meet them next. And then I'm going to reveal a pattern that I find very interesting and something that just might be a foundation to build on. We'll be right back.
I cannot stand Mike. He has this ugly monster inside of him. I gave Mike an ultimatum. He either comes and does the Dr. Phil show, or I am turning him in.
I feel like my mom has asserted herself too much in the relationship that I have with Mike. My mom is very controlling.
Renee will only see her daughter's side. She will never look at my side of the story.
I'm not giving up on Mike, and I need her to understand that. I need her to back off.
Kirsten says Mike and her mother Renee hate each other, and he wants Kirsten to cut her off. But Renee says she's just trying to save her daughter, whom she has seen multiple times with a bloody face full of bruises and cuts. She says Kirsten even called her 15 times from the hospital after she woke up from Mike beating her unconscious.
I cannot stand Mike. He has this ugly monster inside of him. Mike has beaten my daughter, kicked my daughter. He's hurt her to where she can't be a mom. The last time that Mike sent Kirsten to the hospital, she called my phone at least 15 times, telling me Mike hit her again.
It's killing me to see what Mike's doing to my daughter. I want Mike to feel everything that Kirsten has felt, every punch, every arm behind the back, face in the ground. I want him to feel what she feels, and then some.
About 2 weeks ago, not only did she have a black eye, but she had a really deep bruise right here. I just flipped out. I just said, you know what, new rules. I gave Mike an ultimatum. He either comes and does the Dr. Phil show, or I am turning him in.
First time he ever laid his hands on her, I should have went over there and beat him so he wouldn't be able to do it again. I regret not doing it.
I want Kirsten to leave Mike. There isn't a minute that that man has taken accountability for what he's done. My biggest fear is that Mike is going to kill her.
Okay, I'm glad that you two are here. What would you add to what's being said so far?
They are not understanding how serious this is, and that if she's going to end up dying, because he focuses on her head and her face, punching and kicking repeatedly, and I don't want him to kill my daughter. I'm now not allowed to see my grandson. She doesn't want to have anything to do with me because I'm not going anywhere. You're not going to kill my daughter. It's not funny. You think it's funny? No.
That's the grin. The grin. Every time you talk to him about this, he just sits there and smiles. He doesn't take any ownership for it. And then to hear that she's controlling, how are you controlling? We're the one picking up the pieces every time you beat her face in.
I would like to know how we got a piece of glass from your hotel room in our hotel room. Did he hit you over the head by chance?
No.
Then how did it get there?
We had Kirsten. We had a piece of glass in our car after he left.
And but you always take everything. Oh my God, no.
How am I supposed to act when you, if you don't keep your damn hands off my daughter, are going to kill her?
You have all the right to act.
How do you want me to act when I am petrified that you're going to kill her?
The exact way you are.
We have to fix this.
Yeah.
There are some patterns in this relationship that I want to point out here just real quick. You know, they started dating in November of 2014. Then she gets pregnant in 2015. But now in March, I've got green for jealousy here. Okay. And that's where Kirsten's upset because Mike's ex-girlfriend calls. He pushed her up the stairs. That starts happening. Then this is where Mike pushed her into the garage door and immediately apologized. Okay, so he does it, but then he apologizes. Then they move in together. Then here, this is something that is very different. This is where he twists her arm behind her back. She cries out in pain. Mike says, "Let's stop." Mm-hmm. Just let's stop. And then they just go to sleep. She gives birth to her son. And then here we are. And Mike has pushed her into the house. They start brawling. Then again, the fight just stops. Mm-hmm. And then they go to make a bottle for the baby. He slams her face into the car door, a few punches to the head, then let's stop. After this, what do they do? Do they go off and not see each other? No, they go on to their friend's house. Who does that? Who slams somebody's head into the car radio, then punches them a few times and then says, all right, that's enough. They just go on to their friend's house. Let's have fondue.
Right.
Well, really? That's insane at one level and actually encouraging at another, in that you do have the ability to say, stop.
Mike does not value me. He does not love me. I'm the missing link to all of his court cases.
I think the system is very biased towards women. Men are 99% of the time going to be convicted.
He has an open case on him right now. If I become an enemy to him, well, he's going to jail.
I know what's wrong with him. And my question early on was, what's wrong with your thinking? I said, is there a line, is there a point at which you'll say enough's enough? And that line needs to be right now. Yeah. And if you truly want to have peace in your life, then what you're going to do is say, you know what? The bald guy's right. It's time for me to get at peace with myself inside. And I want to get you some help with that. Not some check the box anger management, but get you some genuine professional help that will help you resolve what is eating away at you inside, that will help you resolve what you need to resolve in order to be a responsible father and a responsible co-parent, whether you two wind up getting married, living together, or just co-parenting this child. You owe it to yourself, you owe it to your child, and you owe it to the mother of your child. If I make those arrangements for you, will you participate in that?
Yes.
And I mean, really take that opportunity. And at some point in that, not in the very distant future, then the two of you would participate in that together, but it begins with you. And the same thing with you. There's something not right in your thinking that makes some things okay with you that shouldn't be okay. But you need to resolve that you have been hit for the last time in your life. And you need to resolve that you have hit for the last time in your life. I would very much like to help you rather than prosecute you. I would rather assist you than create more problems for you. And I want to start with something that is very intense before you get into your individual counseling. And On-Site is a place that we use a lot. On-Site is a worldwide leader in intensive workshops and treatment that specializes in emotional trauma and mental health issues. And they put together custom workshops for people that are in traumatic relationships. And I'm going to make available to both of you the opportunity to go there and intensely hit the reset button on your lives and on this dysfunctional relationship, and then follow that up with ongoing treatment and help. And let's see if we can change this in a dramatic way for both of you. Fair enough? Can we do that? Okay? Can we do that? All right, fair enough. When it comes to your health, knowledge is power. So we're busting some medical myths and answering the questions you need to know after the break. Want to know what's coming up on Dr. Phil? Visit our website and subscribe to our email newsletter. You'll get weekly updates, life strategies, and exclusive video that you won't find anywhere else.
Plus, on drphil.com, you can see sneak previews of upcoming shows. Log on today.
Taking care of your health is probably the single most important thing you can do for yourself. That's why getting educated and asking questions is critical for good health. So today, I have my longtime and very good friend, Dr. Frida Lewis Hall, Pfizer's Chief Medical Officer, joining me to answer some common but important health questions. So welcome, Dr. Frida. All right. So our first question is from Marie. What's your question?
Anytime someone gets sick at the office, I get really anxious that I will catch it. Can I actually worry myself sick?
Okay, don't you guys wonder about that? When somebody's contagious and when they're not? But talk to us about the medical side of this and the contagion and everything that goes with that.
Yeah, there's some really important things to know. First of all, the difference between a cold and the flu in terms of how they are contagious. So if you have a cold, right, the days that you're most contagious are the first few days that you have symptoms. After about a week, the risk of spreading it goes down. Now, how does a cold spread? It can spread person to person. It can spread by touching a surface that's been contaminated, or it can spread when someone coughs or sneezes viral infected droplets out into the air.
Yeah, but how do you know if somebody's come along and touched stuff, they get up and leave and it's contaminated?
Well, you have to assume that people have come through and have touched things.
So we need to be germ-phobes. Okay.
Well, no, you don't. No, but you do need to be careful. And some of the things that you do to prevent being infected, you should do all the time.
We don't know who's sick and who's not. What can we do to protect ourselves?
Yeah, so let me tell you something else that I think is really important, though, and that's the difference between the cold and the flu in terms of how you can be infected. So with the flu, you can actually infect someone a day before the symptoms hit you. So you don't even know you're sick, and you can infect people. And then the ability to infect them usually lasts about a week after you've become ill. And the flu is spread in much the same way, but predominantly through virus that's been coughed or sneezed out into the air. So now how do you protect yourself?
Yeah.
So first of all, you can protect others if you know that you're sick. Do your best and try and stay home. because that's the thing that can really protect others. And if you have the flu, try to stay home at least 24 hours after your fever is gone without using a fever reducer. The second thing is cough and sneeze into a tissue. And then wash your hands thoroughly and frequently with soap and water or with an alcohol-based hand sanitizer. And of course, don't forget to talk to your doctor or your pharmacist about a flu shot, and make sure that you and your family are up to date on your immunizations.
Thanks for your question.
Thank you. It's a great question.
All right.
Thank you.
Next, we have an email from Simone in Los Angeles. She writes, I just turned 50 and my doctor recommended I have a colonoscopy. What is it and should I be nervous? I'll just throw this straight to you.
Yeah. Well, don't be nervous, and thanks for asking the question. Colonoscopy is a screening test that can actually find and prevent the development of colorectal cancer. It can save your life. 50 is the age at which it's advised to take the test for the first time unless you're at risk for developing colorectal cancer. So the day before you go for a colonoscopy, you'll end up, as a part of the preparation, taking a very strong laxative that's meant to clean out your colon. The procedure itself is only about 30 minutes, and you're usually medicated, so you sleep through it. Yeah. And what happens during the actual colonoscopy is your doctor takes a flexible tube that has a light and a camera on it called a colonoscope, and that is inserted into your colon. So why? Because what they want to be able to do is image. Those images allow them to see irregular tissue, ulcers, and polyps, and all of these things can be early signs of cancer.
Simone, thank you for the great question. Okay, we've got a videotape question from Amy in Chicago, so let's look at this. It's about caring for her baby.
As a new mom, I'm sleep deprived and worry about every little thing since I've never done this before. One big concern I do have is, what's the best way to take my infant's temperature? And at what temperature should I take him to the doctor?
It's age specific, right?
It is. So for babies under 3 or young people under 3 years old, you want to take a rectal temperature. That'll give you the best reading. Make sure you read the instructions on the thermometer, how to insert it, how to read it, how to clean it. And then your question is, when do I call my pediatrician? So you want to call your pediatrician if your baby is less than 3 months, if the temperature is 100.4 or higher. And the normal rectal temperature for a baby is like 99.6. So that's a pretty tight frame. But remember, babies that small can get very sick very quickly. Now, for babies 3 months to about a year, the rule of thumb is a temperature of 102 deserves a call. That should signal a call to your pediatrician. But mom should be comfortable calling a pediatrician anytime that they have any questions.
Well, thanks for that question, because that's important. Those babies are small. They get sick really, really quick. Mm-hmm. So where can new moms or anyone get more information about the stuff we're talking about here?
Of course, we could go to gethealthystayhealthy.com. We have information on the topics that we had questions on today. So you can go there for additional information, but also while you're there, you can sign up for the Get Healthy, Stay Healthy newsletter to be delivered to you, and that also contains important health information.
GetHealthyStayHealthy.com and sign up for the newsletter. I want to thank all of my guests today, and especially our good friend, Dr. Frida Lewis Hall. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.